Hello there. This is Ganondorf, and, well, this is a topic I talked about before. I've mentioned how Banjo-Kazooie, Rare is no longer the Rare we knew as kids on the Nintendo 64. Because people keep going, Nintendo should buy out Rare. But I'm not going to touch back on that subject more than just to briefly re-mention the fact that Rare is much different now. If Nintendo did anything, it should be to acquire the IPs. To be honest, I have a slight grudge against Microsoft for not so much as I've thought about it more recently, not so much as for buying out Rare. It's because they haven't made good use of Rare. They bought this company that was doing really well for itself, making great games, and they really didn't do much with, haven't done much with them at all. It's not do much because they're still doing stuff, but they just didn't. They have put them on Connect, and yeah, Connect. But aside from that, what I wanted to say is Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts. I know there are plenty of people who are just. I know at first Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts, it was just utterly despised by all Banjo-Kazooie fans. I didn't get to play it at first. In fact, the first time I got to play it was 2011, 2012. But I still didn't get to play it much until more recent, until this year. I still haven't finished it. I need to get another 360 for that. I was playing on my little brother's. He moved out a couple weeks back. No, not a couple weeks, about 2. Yeah. Anyway, the problem is that we were promised something that we didn't get. We heard new Banjo-Kazooie game. First one since, like, Banjo Pilot, and a spin-off, that was a spin-off game in, like, 2005 for the Game Boy Advance. Never played it. I don't know how many people played it or have even heard of Banjo Pilot. And before that, it was Banjo-Kazooie Grunty's Revenge, also for GBA. But again, I'm sure not a whole lot of people have even heard about that. No, but really, if we're going back to the original 2, the best ones out of the series, people were expecting that. People were going, oh, Microsoft can do it. It's on the 360. I like the original Xbox, and yeah, it should be good. We got problems with screenshots like Spiral Mountain, Notes, Jiggies, and we were thinking, this is going to just be, like, amazing. Going to be Banjo-Kazooie looking better than ever in HD, and it's going to be awesome. I'm going to play a new Banjo-Kazooie adventure for the first time in a long time. Well, you were wrong. Well, technically it is, but Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, it isn't a bad game. Anyone who can look at it now, anyone who actually looks at it now, truly just looks at the game, it's not a bad game. The problem is, it wasn't what we thought it would be. It goes from promising Banjo-Kazooie, and we're thinking it's going to be a lot like Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, be maybe an even bigger adventure, and you know what, it was. But at the same time, it introduced the car mechanics. Well, honestly, it isn't that bad. It also just isn't Banjo-Kazooie, and that is the problem. That is the problem. Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts is a good game, but not a good Banjo-Kazooie game, if that makes sense to you. it simply just doesn't work. And while it is enjoyable, and at the little bit I played through it, the first 4 worlds and not all the jiggies in each, it still appears to have a lot of that humor, that weird snarky humor of Kazooie that Kazooie has is somewhat there, and still has all that. The it's just it goes way off from what it used to be. No one was prepared for to go from platforming with all your moves and be able to go all around these worlds that, while not really that big, felt really big because it took time to wander around them. What am I talking about? It took me a while to wander around each world and get everything the further on you got in the game. Because the worlds got bigger and more complicated to move through. You would need to come back once you... In Banjo-Tooie, there were times where you had to come back later. Banjo-Kazooie, there was only one occasion where you were forced to come back later to get a Jiggy. But there was another one you could do it optionally, which I always did because I really, really hate Mr. Vile. You know what I'm talking about. The speed shoes. I really hate Mr. Vile. Though I think most people do. Yeah, that's pretty much it. This kind of came up when I just posted a picture of something on a Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts like picture. Well, it's not nuts and bolts like, it's pretty much like a teaser picture back from before it came out or whatever. But yeah, the problem is that nuts and bolts just isn't what we were hoping. I went into the game when I first played it expecting bad, because all I heard was bad. But it's like, okay. You just have to go into it knowing this. It is nothing like Banjo-Tooie and Banjo-Kazooie. Well, its gameplay and what makes Banjo-Kazooie isn't there really. Not much. So if you have been very iffy on trying it, but you're a fan of the originals, you love platformers, I can only say you could probably find it for pretty darn cheap, and if you have a 360 that works, it's worth it so long as you are able to go into it with knowing the fact it isn't like the other games, and you're willing to try it out and not judge it harshly just on those differences. Though I will say, for those of you who haven't played it, of the I think it's 4 worlds I've played, the third world, I'll just say the name, Banjo-Land, is probably the best one I'll find in the game. Other than when I've heard you can go back to Spiral Mountain at the end for at least a final battle. I don't know if there's more there or not. But yeah, Banjo-Land was awesome. I can't deny that. It was a good level. And yeah, I think that's all. Ganondorf out. Have a good day.